Hi, everybody. This is Janet Belsky, and I'm on to the final relationship part of my lifespan lecture series. And we are going to start out with that important relationship, foundational relationship called friends. Okay, so I have here pals, mainly because I'm using P's throughout this sequence. I have parents, I have partners, etc. But pals is really not such a bad name because pals are the people that you kind of can pal around with for the rest of your life. They are normally our second lifeline to life. Okay, is family more important than friends? Now, typically everybody would say, of course, your family comes first. But I'm going to tell you that friends at certain times of life are more important than your family. Do males and females behave differently with friends? And I'm going to say, at the risk of being a little bit unpolitically correct, this is the truth, guys. The answer is absolutely yes. And we're going to look at those ways as we go on here. We can't make new friends in old age. That's what people told me after my husband died. You're too old to make new friends. You can keep your old friends, but not make new friends, Janet. Well, I'm here to tell you that actually it's easy to make new friends in old age, particularly if you're a woman, for the reasons that I'll be spelling out. Surprisingly easy. Starting off, we're going to really get down and dirty and categorize people that we call our quote friends. So first we have the wide social circle that you call Facebook. Now, if you're like me, you go on your Facebook things and you say, probably 90% of the people on my Facebook feed are, I don't even know who many of these people are. So Facebook is not really friends, is it? It's like people you met once in a while. And then we have distant friends, and those are people who you see occasionally. So they may be in your church or they may be in your running group. And as you go by, you'll say, oh, hi, how are you? They're more like acquaintances. And then you move on to the next person, close friends. These are people you're going to see regularly. So you say to yourself, well, gee, I haven't seen so-and-so for so long. Let's go. She's a good friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine. Let's go out to dinner together. And these are the people that you say, we have a wonderful word called convoy, who you hope will travel through your life with you. And you might want to take a minute at this particular juncture and really list who would you see as your close friends. For me, it's going to probably be maybe 6, 7, 8 people at the most. Then I have people that are even closer to me, and those are my best friends, 1 or 2 people. Okay, so at this juncture, I'm going to say it really does take a little bit of time to meet to have a best friend. You need to really, for a certain amount of time, you have to be with that person until they get into the rank of best friends. But they're always more fragile, even a best friend, because they always take second place to our family, to our primary attachments, particularly in the heart of adult life. So your best friend, and you have a date with your best friend, all of a sudden you say, well, wait a second, my family is coming in and I want to see my family. And your best friend says, of course, family comes first. So even if it's your best friend, they're going to take second place to your family in terms of your heart, or at least your priorities. Whether they really do is a whole other issue. But they're always vital because they're your backup cushion, keeping you afloat when you have issues with your family, when you can't talk to your family. Your friends are always there for you, right? They're your backup. And they're kind of sometimes they're in the wings, but they'll step in when you have issues. That's what a friend is. What exactly is a friend? And now we're going to look at the different categories that I've made up, and I think you will agree with me as to what we expect from our really, really close friends. Well, one of the things that we expect is that person's going to be on our wavelength. So they're going to really share our passions or be interested in our passions. So the way that we meet friends often is through having similar passions. So let's say that you met your friends through your running group, and now you've become really, really close with them. And you say, well, I'm not so interested in staying with this group anymore. I'm tired, and maybe I'll move on to something else. Or maybe I don't feel like coming on Saturday. And your friends say, oh, come on, come on, come on. And you end up coming and you say, but gee, my friend made me better, made me a healthier person. So we really expect our friends to be making us really a better self than we were. It's a very important thing. Are they making us better? We expect them to celebrate our successes when we have something really good happens. There are cheerleaders. I'm so excited. You got this promotion. You did this. This is terrific. And we also, on the other end, of course, expect them to reach out when we're in trouble. Is there anything I can do to help? I know you're having problems, and we may say, no, not really, but that person is really there for you. Here's the essence. Friends are loyal, with all of the implications that has. And here we have E.M. Forster, the writer, who said, if I had to choose between betraying my country and betraying my friend, I hope I'd have the guts to betray my country. That really says friends are somehow the loyal center of your life. Loyalty is very important with a friend. What are childhood friendships like? And I'm going to say they're on-site training for being an adult. So starting out really, really young, we have a toddler, and we have a perfect example I'll give you an anecdote with my son, because we walked by somebody who was about 2 years old, and he said, that's my best friend. And I laughed because I said, he doesn't know what a friend is, teaching me what exactly is a friend. But when you're starting out in life, could be your dog. I'm sure your dog could be your best friend now too. But, we really don't understand what a friend is. Okay, so then we get to preschool. So you're going to really start connecting over similar interests. And that's really how we connect with our friends. We like to do Legos together. And so this is my good friend because we like to play together. And then we get to late elementary school, which is, if you saw my childhood lecture, that's when we really grow up mentally in elementary school. And we begin to have really the mature ideas of what a friend is. So here we have two girls who are being best friends. And they're going to be sharing their secrets. They're once again, making each other better people, and they're bonding together. And I won't tell anybody, but this is my deepest, darkest secret, and I can't tell anybody else. And then we have guys, and it's sort of, they're not going to talk as much, but it's a similar thing. My best buddies, I do anything for them. Really lock into friends in late elementary school. And you can think back to that wonderful experience of having your closest friends. Usually happened in elementary school. There were some requirements to making friends. Okay, so this is what it beginning to act like an adult here. You have to be able to modulate your feelings. Now, with your family, you can have a fit, right? You can act whatever way you want, but in order to have a friend, you have to toe the line. You have to listen to the other person. You have to try to compromise. You have to have what's called good theory of mind. And we have interesting research that suggests kids who are good with theory of mind, which is understanding where other people are coming from, have more friends. That is a classic quality that lets people have friends. But for boys, not telling you anything you don't know, you have to be able to fight right. And in psychology, we call that rough and tumble play. You watch boys, you'll see they like to hit each other. They like to push each other. They love that kind of stuff, but you can't let it get out of hand. So you'll see them rough and tumbling. And then if you know how to fight right, if you're a guy, you know when to back off when it starts to get really kind of hairy. Then you go, okay, guys, all right, I'm still friends with you. So here we come to a quiz. Do girls and boys act differently with friends? And again, absolutely. Boys like to bond over things, over activities. Boys like to fight. Girls like to talk to each other, bond over feelings. That's the classic gender stereotype, and it's still there. Just going into an elementary school, you can see it right away. Are friends positive influences on development? Here, I'm going to say, not really. I mean, sometimes if you're with the right friend, they can be positive. But as we saw in the adolescence lecture, friends can get you into deep trouble. And so one of the issues for parents is what are his friends like? What are her friends like? Absolutely accurately, because friends are really the people who are either putting us in the direction of getting into trouble or putting us in the direction of doing well. Is being popular the same as having friends? And here I think, if we think about it, and actually that it's not the case that being popular is the same, because popular kids are leaders. They're at the top of the social hierarchy. And having a friend means that you're symmetrical, you're on the same level. So some of the most popular kids in the class, really, if you ask is this your friend? Or no, that's the popular kid, but my friends are this group, these people here. Popular is not the same as having friends. And by the way, having friends is more predictive of doing well in adulthood than being popular. Do friends teach us to be adult? And in fact, that's the idea that, if you compromise, if you know how to have a symmetrical relationship, that's a really, really good thing for your adult life. And a man named Harry Stack Sullivan, an old theorist, psychoanalytic theorist, really spelled that out. He said, having, quote, a chum when you're about 9 or 10 is your stepping ground really to having an adult love relationship. I think Sullivan was kind of wise in that area. Having friends is our stepping ground to being an adult, having good friends in adult life. Okay, so let's talk about when they are more important than family, because there are times when they are. And all you have to do is look at teenagers to say they are more important than your family when you're a teenager. You ask teenagers, who's more important, your friends or your family? And they'll say, my best friend. Separating from your parents is one of the goals of being a teenager. So teenagers bond with their friends as their bridge to moving into adult life. And I'm going to say during adolescence, during the 20s, and I'm going to even say during the 30s, having a partner is much less prevalent in adult life. Our friends are the bedrock. So here we have women friends bonding over, unfortunately, gender stereotype stuff. Look at this ring I got. Isn't that wonderful? And here we have guys, fortunately, bonding over gender stereotype stuff. Let's go out drinking with my buddies. Those are my close friends. And they're much more important than my parents, certainly at this particular age. But there are other times. Let's imagine that you're not getting along with your partner. Who are you going to call? Well, you're going to call your friends. Things aren't working out. And your friend says to you, okay, all right. Now, friend may say, well, this is a good person, stay with them. But sometimes they'll say things like, yeah, you're right. This is not good. Friends actually can smooth us to either having a good relationship with our partner or staying or leaving our partner. They're absolutely essential if you decided to get a divorce. And people say things like, if it weren't for my friends, I'd be having so much more trouble after my divorce. I can't speak to my kids, but my friends are the cushion, again, in my life when I'm having trouble. Can't talk to my children, but I can certainly, or my parents, but I can really talk to my friends. Another time, which I am in right now, is widowhood. A no-brainer. Most women my age are widowed. For men, it's less because, of course, we outlived them. When you're widowed, it's enormously important to have friends. And in fact, actually, friends are more important, even though we don't say anything, than our family when we're widowed. And here's some research that we're going to talk about right now. This is an old age friend quiz. I'm arguing that friends are as important or more than your family. And what's my data? Well, we have studies where they ask, are you satisfied with your family? Are you satisfied with your friends? You have good relationships with your family, you have good relationships. Of course, it's wonderful to have good relationships with everybody, but the best predictor of happiness, if you're an older woman, is whether you have close friends. It's a very big predictor of being satisfied in your life, more than even being close to your family. Isn't that interesting? Is it hard to make friends in old age? And I'm telling you, no, because there are so many widows. I found it's very easy to make friends because I have all these women that need me and I need them. And of course, some of your old friends died and you want to have new friends, and it's not hard at all. Do old men have special trouble making new friends? Well, here we go with the gender difference again. The answer is men don't do this as well as women. As I said, they connect over things. So for instance, if these are two old guys, they may have been friends their whole life. And look at this guy in the background there. They're not going to reach out to this guy, but they just don't have the same, I would say, interest in making new friends, because one thing is, of course, if a man loses his wife, he's going to try to get a new woman. That's the classic, I lost my wife, I'm a widower, and I have all these women after me, and I'm going to connect with somebody, a new woman. So old men do have special trouble just based on the way that they connected throughout their lifespan in later life. When do they naturally fade? You have a best friend, and then all of a sudden you have a relationship. Your best friend says, I'm happy for you, but not so happy because you're leaving me. When you have a partner, spend time with the partner and the friends fade into the background. And also another way, and this has happened to me when I moved away, I was afraid to tell my friends because I knew they'd be upset. I really was hurtful to me to tell my friends that I was moving and they were not happy about it. Hard, but I needed to move. So there didn't go, but it was not going to be the same, obviously, when I moved away. But they can also actively end. All of a sudden, you're with your friends and you say, gee, this person isn't like me anymore. They don't think the same way as me. And so you'll end up having a fight, or you'll probably end up just saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this person. But here are these women that are it's escalating and they're having a fight. And after that, they're saying to themselves, I just don't want to be with my best friend anymore. This is a big thing. Remember, I said you're supposed to take pleasure in their successes. A lot of times you can't do that. So this one just got a big promotion, and I'm supposed to be happy about that? Not really, especially if I'm in the same field. She got the promotion and I didn't, or this happens a lot, by the way, it happened to me. Your friends had a baby and you wanted a baby and you saw how happy they were with the baby. And then you said to yourself, I don't think I can really be that friendly with this person anymore. It makes me feel too bad to be around them. Okay, but this is a maybe even bigger way. All of a sudden you find that your friends are talking about you, negatively about you, and that's the end. Disloyalty is the capstone of ending a friendship. Friends, remember, should be loyal. I called my friend and they said they were too busy to help me. How many of those things have happened to you? It does, and that's sort of done. That's kind of the end of that friendship. I told you that it was easy for me to have adult friends, and you probably said, how did that happen? How did it get to be so easy for me to have friends when I was older? And one of the interesting things that happened to me, of course, it's maybe not going to happen to you, was that in my building, we had a lot of older women that wanted to reach out to new people. But how did we do it? Well, we developed a book club. We actually have a women's group. And in general, if you don't have that experience that I had, you have to kind of reach out more. reach out to a group that shares your interests. Remember, that's how we connect. And it's easy to talk to them because you can talk about your interests. That's the way we begin really connecting with our friends from preschool. So I would join a group where it is pretty clear that embracing new friends is a priority of theirs. The other thing that I would look for, and by the way, we find most of our friends, and you can think about this when in our work situation, or if your parents, in your school situation. But very important, if you're in that group, that your group, and this is the way to make a really good friend, bonds together as a team. And it's hard, but your job is to work together as a team. And you may not like some people in the group because of that, but basically you are going to connect emotionally with the people that you bonded together with, and they're going to be your friends. And the classic example, of course, is the military. And all we have to know is when you are in combat, you make friends for life because you're going through a stressful experience together. And it gives you a kind of emblematic high that you take through your life. How to keep old friends? Well, you need to be loyal in all the ways that I've just said. Be there for the person, be there when they're in trouble, celebrate their successes, that kind of thing. Loyalty is everything. In fact, loyal old friends really tell us who we are from childhood to old age. And I'm going to tell you about my friend Nancy, my best friend from high school. In fact, we make many of our friends we are likely to make in high school or in college or at the beginning of our adult lives. And Nancy and I go back and we can talk about anything and she knows who I was when I was 16. She knows all about my life. I know all about hers. And it's a way of connecting with her that brings me to connect with who I used to be. We have history together. And that's so important in having an old friend. We have two women talking, reminiscing about their lives, and two guys, the same thing. How to be an ideal close friend. And you might want to rank these. By the way, you're not going to have a 5 all the time. So, I'm assuming if you have a 3 and above, you're in kind of good shape here. Do I share my friend's passions or show I'm interested in those passions? Because your friend isn't going to have the same passions as you as they move through life. But you have to show you're interested in their life. Absolutely. Do I celebrate my friend's successes? Am I happy for my friend? And just as important, when I'm successful, do I kind of lowball it? Rather than, nobody wants you to be bragging anyway. Now, that's not the way to make a friend. We think it may be, oh, if I tell them how wonderful I am, they'll be my friend. No, nobody wants to hear that stuff. And you move on to the things that you share to preserve that friendship. Do I reach out when needed to improve my friends' life? You got to be there. You got to say, can I help you? Is there anything I can do? Please just let me know. Your friend may not know this, but you have to do it anyway. If you're with other people and they put this person down, do you boost your friend? Do you say, well, wait a second, I don't think I agree with you there. This is such a good person. This is my good friend. Do you periodically check in as you travel on your unique path through life? And here we have true friendship resists time, distance, and silence. And some people actually have a ritual where they get together with their best friends people my age, once a year. If you're a guy, if they have the same thing. I'm with my man buddies, or whatever they call them. I'm on my mancation. Their convoy as they travel through life. You got to forgive your friends because nobody is perfect. And they're likely to violate, maybe seriously, even one of those rules. Are you able to make up for the sake of your friendship? And here we have these two guys. This guy is really angry about what this guy did. But finally, he says, please make up with me. And finally, they come back because our friendship is going to outweigh the little things that we didn't do that weren't quite right. You can join me at my website, Belsky Being Human, as I decode everything you want to know about human life. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to episode 2 of Connections or Relationships. And that episode is called Partners. And when I talk about partners, I think you're going to realize that friends are probably more important than they've ever been, because with partners, it's a little bit harder to keep a partnership. I'm not telling you anything you didn't know today than it used to be.